Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rslash Tales from the Customer. In today's episode, how to turn a $3,000 repair into a $600 repair. You're going to crash and die. Not one, but two defective tires. I want a refund. Nope. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. How to turn a $3,000 repair into a $600 repair. Seeing all these stories lately about car repair shops reminded me of my worst experience with one a couple years back. So in the summer of 2019, I was in the process of doing a cross-country move. I had my car loaded with my belongings and was going from the Southwest to the Midwest. I made it about one state over before I noticed my car's temperature gauge rising and my AC turning hot. Luckily, this happened while I was in the middle of a small town. I pulled over and let my car cool while trying to get a hold of a tow truck. While waiting a while, I turned my car back on at some point to look under the hood. The temperature did not rise back up immediately at all, and what I noticed was my radiator rattling like hell. Tow truck came an hour and a half later and took my car to the nearest repair shop, which is similar to the name Blepmen. I left my keys in the overnight drop box since the shop was closed and waited for a call the next day. I get a call in the mid-morning from a lady who tells me my car was evaluated and she had some bad news. She tells me my head gasket was blown and that it would cost $3,000 to fix it, along with my car needing to be in the shop for a week minimum. Of course, I was devastated, although confused. She didn't mention anything about my radiator. I don't know a lot about cars, but I know my radiator shouldn't be rattling like it's knocked off the mounts. I asked her, well, what about my radiator? If my car overheated, wouldn't that be a problem? She said, no, your radiator is perfectly fine. Immediately I felt something wasn't right. I let her know I'd be by with a rental truck with a trailer in about a few hours to come get my vehicle. So I went to the repair shop, paid for the inspection while they tried convincing me to get the repair done there as they had the lowest cost. I declined, started up my car and got it going long enough to get it on the trailer without any issue. I finished my cross-country trip and took my car to a local mechanic to get it looked at. A day later, I get a phone call telling me they're unsure why I was told my head gasket was blown when they tested it several times and found nothing was wrong. They said my radiator was the problem and would be $600 to fix. I was very happy and glad I trusted myself. I paid them to fix my car and that was that. My car kept going for a couple more years with minimal and unrelated issues until I moved back home and left it behind. Moral of the story is, trust your gut and always get a second opinion if something doesn't seem right. They saw you were out of state and were going to try to totally gouge you on something and take advantage of your desperate situation. Probably their only, hopeful, big repair all year. Exactly my thoughts, but I'm so glad I trusted myself on this one. They probably wouldn't have even done the whole repair. Just cleaned up a few things to make it look like they did something, then charge for the full amount. 1996, I was moving from Colorado to Florida. I had to call a tow truck to tow me off a bridge. Not knowing any repair local shops, I told the driver to take me where he might go if stranded. I came into the repair shop on the tow truck, loaded down with stuff I didn't trust with the movers and a Colorado plate. I knew I was screwed. 30 minutes later, the owner called me to the counter and said that I was good to go and presented me with a $40 repair bill. I can't remember what the issue was, but 25 years later this is still my repair facility. That's the fun thing about owning a car. Every stage is filled with scammers and crooks. From the sleazy car salesman, to crooked mechanics who rip people off at every opportunity, to the thieves at towing companies who haul it away 200,000 miles later. They are all scammers. Not to mention the people who'll smash your window in on the off chance there's valuables inside, or take an angle grinder to your exhaust system for the platinum in your catalytic converter. Good on you. We were out of state one hot summer, and our AC went out. Took it to a repair shop, and they charged around $1,000 to fix it. It broke again about halfway home. It's guys like that give the rest of us a bad name. My experience with blep men is that it depends entirely on the manager and counter person. My local shop was great. They took 3 days to do some work, and they broke some other stuff along the way, but they ate all those costs, and I'd told them I wasn't in any particular hurry. I felt like they were completely honest and above board. 6 months later, I took my wife's car in, didn't recognize anyone, and felt like I was being ripped off the whole time. Got out of there. A couple of decades ago, I bought a car which its head gasket had blown. I realized the problem when I was checking the water level, and its color was a milky one. I found strange, and I decided to check the oil level too, and it was with SE same color. The oil mixed with the water, it was a mess, and I still traveled 200 miles with the car in this state. We took some stupid risks when young. You're going to crash and die. I don't drive my car often as I work from home. I've had it for 6 years and driven a little over 30,000 miles. This includes several long road trips. I try to keep up with regular maintenance. However, weather changes can affect the air pressure, especially when it's sitting for long periods of time. After one of these drastic changes, I realized one of my tires was flat. I took my car to a tire chain store to inspect my tires and confirm there were no issues. They told me the tread was getting a little low, and I should start thinking about getting new tires. No worries, I started doing research on new tires. A few days later, I took my car into the dealership to get an oil change. I'd called around and surprisingly, they were cheaper by $30. My car requires synthetic. I dropped my car off and was told my car would be ready in a couple hours, so my friend picked me up and we went home to wait. Several hours later, I call the dealership to ask if my car is ready as I haven't heard from them. I'm bounced around several times and finally get someone. I was prepared for the usual, sorry it took a little longer. Your car is ready. Instead, they launch into a sales pitch on these great tires, and they can just put them on for me. No thanks. I'm getting them somewhere else. You do realize it's unsafe? I think I'll be okay. Is my car ready? You're just going to be driving along, then it's going to start raining. The next thing you know, you lose control of your car. You're going to crash and die. I was speechless for a moment. Listen, I barely drive my car, but it's not my first year driving. Is my car ready? Oh yeah, I was just about to call you. It's ready. I'm still incredulous that he switched so quickly from yelling at me and killing me off in his scenario to telling me calmly I could pick up my car. We now joke about it and embellish it to say fiery car crash because why not? Something similar happened to my brother. When he was a new driver, 16 or 17, a repair shop actually told him it was illegal for them to let him leave the shop without new tires. Some of these places are ridiculous. My ex-husband once got 4 free new tires because they wouldn't let him leave on such bald tires, but we were so poor we literally couldn't afford to buy even one tire. He was like, if you don't let me take my car, I can't drive to work. I'm going to be going now. So they put on 4 tires for free, the literal cheapest ones available that fit his car. I think they have budget to make charity calls like that at Discount Tire. I took them cookies the next day. Some people will do anything for an upsale. I was once a teenage girl who worked after school, selling car parts. You don't have to know how to put a car together to sell parts, but I picked up enough basic knowledge not to get screwed over by mechanics. That is how I knew that the air filter in my car was round. The day some jackwad at the Speedy Lube joint waltzed up to me with a square air filter and started yammering on about how badly I needed a new one, I nodded and asked him to show me where he pulled the filter from my car. Before I could pick up my purse, he was already backtracking about how it's not necessary, it's got a few thousand more miles, oh and my car is ready to go, pay at the front. I've gone back at a couple guys for that bees. They see a small woman and think I don't know any better. I clap back when they try that. Entertainment for me. I overheard the same kind of talking down to a customer at an oil change shop about his brakes. The attendant actually said if he didn't fix whatever it was, the brake fluid would boil and the calipers would fail. All intense. The customer laughed and got his car. Then it was my turn, lol. My family has been going to the same mechanic shop for more than 20 years. When the original owner retired, his top mechanic took over. I get my oil changed there, and I know they tell me something is wrong, they're telling the truth. That's why I pay a little more for oil changes. Honestly though, if your tire is going flat you probably need new ones. That's not normal. It's very common in colder climates. Yeah, they are probably also pretty old too. Which, even if the tread depth is good, a car that sits a long time can dry rot the tires. Not one, but 2 defective tires. I want a refund. Nope. Back in the 1970s in Tucson there was a tire chain whose name rhymes with El Crapo. I bought 2 new Firestone tires for my 66 VW microbus and went on a trip north, summertime. About 150 miles from home, on a newly surfaced highway, one of the new tires blew, sidewall shredded. Fine 10-minute stop to change it, and we're on the way. 5 miles later we're going up a 2-lane road, and number 2 goes. Hardly any shoulder, so I have to reverse at a half-mile with all the motorists behind me cursing and flipping me off, even though they can see what the problem is. Finally got to a spot where there was space to park, and pulled the tire to roll it another mile to a 1-pump car shop. He sold me 2 mismatched knobby tires that would fit my rims, and took me back to the bus so I could change it and get it back to his shop for the second one. Finished the trip and got back home without incident. The next weekend I went into El Crapo dragging both shredded tires and the receipt. Hadn't owned them for a month and wanted a refund. Got into a shouting match with the Uber manager. But the roomful of customers waiting might have made him back down. He kept saying I had to run over something. He finally told me to pull it around and they'd put the same new tires on. Another shouting match ended with him giving me a refund. Took another 20 years, until 1996. That the state of Arizona told Firestone that the tread on its tires were separating in high temperatures, as well as having major sidewall defects. I'm sure that all parties knew that back in the 70s. Were you ever able to do anything against the manufacturer? I have stayed away from bad stones my whole life. Those in bad years have never been put on my vehicles. Ogre is right. Most mechanics can barely read or form a coherent written sentence. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.